Chief Justice Edward White was born November 3rd, 1845. His family had a sugar plantation at Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Edward Douglas White's father was the 10th governor of Louisiana and a member of the United States House of Representatives. Edward was Roman Catholic and attended Georgetown University, where he became a member of the Philatelic Society.
When the Civil War began, he returned to Louisiana and fought in the Confederate Army.
Edward White joined the Pickwick Club, which had members of the elite and supported efforts to reinstate white supremacy.
White began a law practice in New Orleans following his admissions to the bar.
Edward White married Lada Montgomery Kent, who was a widow of Lyndon Kent, on November 6, 1894. In 1896, White sided with 6 justices whose majority opinion in Plessy v. Ferguson approved segregation.
Edward White was promoted to the Chief Justiceship by President William Howard Taft in 1910.
Edward White was generally seen as one of the more conservative members of the court. He originated the term the rule of reason.
During World War I, Edward White wrote Wilson v. New that sustained the Adamson Act of 1916. Edward White died still serving on the Supreme Court and remained popular in Louisiana.
Albert Snyder's son was killed in the line of duty in Iraq in 2006. Fred Phelps and Westboro Baptist Church is known for its anti-gay protests at public events, including military funerals. The church is categorized as a hate group, especially against lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, Jews, and politicians. The church has participated in over 41,000 protests in over 650 cities since 1991. Fred Phelps and Westboro Baptist Church picketed signs at military's Matthew Snyder's funeral. The picket was held in a location cordoned off by the police, approximately 1,000 feet from the church, from which it could be neither seen nor heard. Although Snyder testified that he could see the tops of the picket signs as he drove to the funeral, he did not see what was written on the signs until later that night, while watching a news broadcast covering the event. The family accused the church and its founders of defamation, invasion of privacy, and the intentional infliction of emotional distress. On October 31, 2007, the jury awarded Snyder $2.9 million in compensatory damages, later adding a decision to award $6 million in punitive damages for invasion of privacy, and lastly an additional $2 million for causing emotional distress, to earn a total of $10.9 million. On February 4, 2008, Bennett upheld the verdict but reduced the punitive damages from $8 million to $2.1 million. The total judgment then stood at $5 million. Fred Phelps defended himself, saying that his picketing signs was protected under the First Amendment to the Constitution. The Court of Appeals agreed. They reviewed the picket signs and concluded that Westboro's statements were entitled to the First Amendment protection because those statements were on matters of public concern. On March 2, 2011, an 8-1 decision by the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Fred Phelps, upholding the Fourth Circuit's decision.